right. Well, I do an official welcome now because it goes on a YouTube channel. So people uh, need to know that we're the Evergreen Bed and Breakfast Club, and this is our virtual travel experience. And we welcome everyone uh, joining us tonight. So tonight's travel programs, uh, um, Billy and Lanee are going to take us to Colorado. And then we have a cooking segment on how to make curry broccoli soup. Uh, so before um, we start, I did want to thank those of you who have already answered your survey. We sent out a survey yesterday afternoon. I don't know if everybody got it or not. Kind of show your hand if you saw it in your email. Great, great. We've gotten a lot of responses. It's wonderful. You just never know. So your feedback is really very helpful in moving the club forward. So I think without any further really words from me, we'll let Billy and Lanee share their screen. I cannot wait to see the pictures Billy's taken on Colorado. And Billy's already been made a co-host, so you should be able to.
Billy's a co-host. Let me see, Billy. Yeah. So.
Okay, it does not show that I can screen share with y'all.
Let me take a second look at that. Made you a co-host before. Maybe I have to un-co-host Kathleen. Sorry, Kathleen, you're getting demoted.
Okay.
All right.
Let's see. Try it again, Billy.
There it is.
Yeah, looking good.
Looks great.
All right. So that's full screen,
Yes.
and you can see my cursor.
Yes.
All right. Well, I want to let you know that the Centennial State means a lot to Lanee and I because it sits right next to Texas, or pretty close. And we were both from the Amarillo area of Texas. So it is actually closer to drive to Denver, the state capital of Colorado, than to drive to Austin, the state capital of Texas. And so we've spent at least 50 different trips and vacations in Colorado because of it being close, and enjoy the state. I'm going to break it into some basic sections. When you look at the eastern portion of Colorado, that is mostly crop production. And when we're talking about crops, we're talking about wheat, corn, alfalfa, grain sorghum, sunflower, barley, hops. Now, the alfalfa is generally on the west edge of the Rocky Mountains, and barley and hops is grown in the valley over here. But for this area, it's not unusual it's flat land, and it's not unusual to see very large sections dedicated to the production of wheat. You can see a lot of production of grain sorghum, corn being produced, and a lot of this is just rain fed, even though we do have a lot that waters off of the Ogallala aquifer and produce that away. And the sunflower production, all of it in that area. As I indicated earlier, that is on the west side of the Colorado is the alfalfa production, and down through this valley is the barley and hops. And it's not unusual to see barley production. And the barley grain itself, in a lot of instances, is run through a malting process. And once the seed starts to germinate, it is dried out quickly and used in the production of beer. And so it's a very common thing to see that practice, and then the production of hops. And so lots of unique things that's used in a wet blend there in the production of another beer that's very popular in Colorado. And then they produce a lot of alfalfa in Colorado. And so it's easy to find that along that western Rocky Mountain edge. Now, when you look at the middle of the state, this is where the population lives. You can start there at Trinidad, run along the Rocky Mountains, and within 30 miles of the base of the Rocky Mountains, 70 to 80% of the population live. And so this is the voting power that sort of ignores the rural areas. And they have a lot of arguments over water, and it's just a lot of people crowded in a small area compared to these on the rural extremities. So I'm going to start out by coming up 25 out of Trinidad. We're going to go to Cannon City. Several people may have stopped at the Royal Gorge.
Yeah.
If you've ever been across the bridge and looked down, it's a long ways down there. You're actually higher than the Empire State Building is tall. So whether you're looking down or looking up, it's a long ways. You can go whitewater rafting down the river, but it's quite the impressive. And if you want to, you can take a gondola ride across the Royal Gorge. And it's a great place to start in Colorado. Colorado Springs happens to be where Lanee and I spent our honeymoon 46 years ago. And there's lots to do there in Colorado Springs. You've got the Garden of the Gods, Pikes Peak's in the background in the Rocky Mountains. You have these large sandstone structures that's either intense red or intense white, depending on how the light that's hitting them. You've got balanced rock. There's just a lot of very interesting rock structures as you go through the Garden of the Gods. You can also go to Helen Hunt Falls. This is less than a football field from where you park. So it's very, very easy access. You can get to right where I shot the picture with no problems at all. It's very handicap accessible. And if you want to do some hiking, you can go up and go across the bridge and go on the trail there. The Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, it's at an elevation of 6,714 feet. It must be extremely comfortable for the animals because they're active a good portion of the day, and that makes going to the zoo much more enjoyable. They have a tremendous giraffe exhibit. The hippos, the elephants, everything just seemed to respond better there. On the edge of the zoo, you can go through this little gateway and go up to the Will Rogers Shrine to the Sun. And you can go up to the top and get a nice picture of Colorado Springs. And there's lots to do there, and you can spend a lot of time. If you go to the north side of town, you have the Air Force Academy. This is the chapel there. You can check online to see what's open and when, and make a trip to the Air Force Academy. You can also go to the top of Pikes Peak. It's a pretty intense road, to say the least. About a third of the way up is where Santa Claus calls home at the North Pole of Colorado. And the kids really love it. I'd say somewhere up to 12 years of age would enjoy the rides and the workshops and things that's there at the pole. But you can go up to the top of the 14,000 foot high Pikes Peak and get a dazzling view from up there. From Colorado Springs, going up to Denver.
Kathleen,
You can see the Rocky Mountains in the back.
Yeah, we
And-
kind of lost you for a little bit there, Billy.
Okay, so am I back now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the Broncos Stadium.
It's breaking up again.
Denver. Capital, that facility. The one I like to go through is US Mint. And when I went through it years ago, they were making pennies. When I tried to go through, I found out that you have to have a reservation prior to going made online. And so we didn't get to tour it the last time. They make national park quarters now, the Mint. So be sure to online, make your reservation in, because you just can't walk up to the gate like you used to and take a tour of the Mint. There is a Chihuly exhibit, and any of you that likes his glasswork will find this display just breathtaking.
So where is that, Billy?
Go to the Hammond's Candy Factory. You can all in Denver, Colorado. This one, the granddaughter really love, and they still make most of their candy unique. They still make their taffy. They make over 2 million candy canes a year, and they have the small sizes. They have very large size candy cane, and they also make ribbons, candy ribbons, colors and tastes. This all from a company that's been on for a long time, and you can just look through the windows and watch them in the process making these candies, and really good for kids. And of course, they like to buy it and eat it. Now, the next town close to Denver is Golden. It's a great place to go visit. And theirs is the one of the major breweries, Coors, and it's got tours that you can take and go through. Also, there's a railroad museum there. And so either side of that coin, you can enjoy yourself at Golden, Colorado. If you go up to Boulder, lots of outdoor activities that can be done there. You certainly will enjoy being out there. This is Boulder Falls, just outside of Boulder, Colorado. This is the Sunrise Amphitheater, and they have different plays that goes on occasionally there, and you can see right off it, there's Boulder, Colorado in the background. This is the Red Rock Amphitheater, and this has trails that wind through here that you can hike, and it's a beautiful place to visit. This arch is probably the most colorful arch I've ever seen. It's called the Royal Arch. And if you can snap a picture through the arch of the Flatiron Mountains, if you want to go to the park close to town and sit here at the tables and eat a sandwich and look at the Flatiron Mountains, it's just a beautiful view from the park there at the edge of town. Then Fort Collins, we're getting off close to getting out of Colorado on Interstate 25 when you're at Fort Collins. There's a couple of things that is enjoyable to do there. Of course, I have been through Anheuser-Busch Brewery, but the thing that makes this one really neat is in the back is one of their Clydesdale production facilities. And so you can go and see the Clydesdales and see the little horses there. And so if you like to see animals, and especially these little horses are still big enough, and it's very enjoyable to see that. But I will tell you the thing that we ran into in the fall is that the pull team is generally out on the road. And so when we went to go see these, they were not there. They were actually up at the Cheyenne Rodeo. And so we changed our plans on that particular trip. And then Colorado State University is based out of Fort Collins, and it's a land grant university there. From there, you can go to Estes Park. Unfortunately, Estes Park is on fire right now. And if you drive over towards Granby, this is Grand Lake. This road is called Troll Ridge Road. This is one of the hardest drives for me to make. Going out of Estes Park, the wildlife is not unusual to be able to snap a picture of elk. There's plenty of them around. And then you get on the road that's, at least it has guardrails. When you get up to the top, 1,000 feet above timberline, there are no guardrails, and you can just look down for the 1,000 feet, and it makes me nervous. And I use that pull out, never stop to take advantage and rest my hands because I've got white knuckles from holding that stuff. And when you get up to the top of the Rocky Mountain there, you can stop at one of the locations, walk out, and it's over 14,000 feet, and it's just a spectacular view and very enjoyable. But the Rocky Mountain National Park, I can't tell you all the places that you can snap pictures of crystal clear water, beautiful pine trees, aspens turning in the fall, just one scene after the other of aspens, and they're beautiful yellow. But you need to be there into September, early October, because these leaves leave in a hurry. And so when you're there and catch them, it's spectacular. The lakes are just gorgeous, and it's just so beautiful to make this drive through the park. And when Grand Lake, it's a unique town because they don't have 2,000 people live there year-round. Summer town, it grows strictly in that season of the year, but some businesses that makes their whole year's income off of the 4th of July. They come out of Denver, they come out of Golden, they Boulder, they just come in from everywhere for a fireworks show across the lake. And there's generally about 60,000 people that come in for that fireworks show. And they make their plans and make their sales for this one day. You can drive on through and head on down the road. Now, going on to the western edge of Colorado, we'll start up Steamboat Springs, but when you're there at Steamboat or Vail or Aspen, you've heard those names, those are ski areas, and they're busy in the wintertime. And Lanee and I spent a week at Steamboat Springs last year, just as the leaves is changing colors, and it was beautiful. And we went to Fish Falls. It's not more a half-mile hike back into it. Crystal clear water is a beautiful place to be that afternoon. And the very next day, we woke up to snow. We didn't expect it, but we didn't have anywhere to go, so we just left. went the next day. So it was just caught us off guard. Then we come on down to Delta. I just mentioned this town because I thought it's neat to cross the Gunnison River on the edge of town and have the Athens all night and yell. This is where I spent over an hour at this one sawmill that inside town, watching the big machinery work with logs that they made them look like toothpicks. Just a beauty thing. And this particular one makes tongue and groove planking. And I don't know very many places that make that. And so it was unique to get to go and see.
Billy, did they, I mean, it was an ongoing business and you just stopped?
I did. And the lady came out and asked me what I was taking pictures of. And I said, well, I said, this is amazing to watch. And she goes, you're not with the insurance company? And I said, no, am I supposed to be? And she said, no, we had somebody file a claim and it's afraid you're taking pictures.
Oh.
I said, no, I just came because I thought it's neat to see. And so she invited me in the office and talked to me for about 30 minutes about their operation. It's quite interesting. We went and stayed with a travel club member in Montrose. We was headed to Gunnison. And Montrose is a town of about 17,000 people, but they have the neatest water sports park you've ever seen. And the kayakers come and give themselves a workout there. They divert water through the stream that flows there, and they make some number 2, number 3 rapids to give yourself a workout. And this is all on the edge of town. They have a bike trail back here, and pretty neat for a little town to have a setup like that. And they also have a lot of interesting sculptures around town, and that's just one of many. But like I said, we was headed over to Gunnison, and there at Gunnison is the Black Canyon of the Gunnisons National Park. And the Gunnison River over the many years has dug a big trench through this hard rock. And you can be on the trail looking down, or you can go on the lower trail, but I do not recommend it. It's a 12% slope for 2 miles and no blowouts. And by the time I got down here to the river, my brakes were just a smoking. And so I just stick to the upper levels. This is the ranger station there, relatively new. It's one of about 9 stops that you can make. And from there, look down on the Gunnison about 700 feet lower. And so mostly I was holding my camera over the side, snapping a picture, and then seeing if it's any good, because I sure don't like to look down like that. And the gray veins running through the black is just beautiful with the Gunnison River running through there. And you've probably seen that picture 100 times, but it's easy to take it if the light's hitting it just about any day. Then Montrose, going down here to Telluride in Ouray. There's lots of movies made in this area, and you can just Google them, but this is the house. I was just wondering what it'd be like to be between 2 waterfalls like that. And
noisy.
Well, it might be. That's Bridal Veil's Fall there in Telluride, and pretty impressive when the water's flowing. This one is in the Yankee Box Basin there close to Ouray. And if it pronounce Ouray, fine. It's Ouray or Ouray, but no matter how, you have to drive down or drive out because you're at the bottom when you're at Ouray. And I enjoy this city, waterfalls everywhere. Very popular place with small shops. You can certainly enjoy stopping there and seeing what's being offered. Then that road is one 90 twisty rascal getting out of there. And there's lots of 15 and 20-mile-an-hour curves, switchbacks as you're getting out of there. Down at Silverton, you'll see a lot on this Silverton Durango, because as you were going to get down there, there's just this beautiful mountain range that you drive through, and if the aspens are yellow, it's just gorgeous to see that. But when you get to Silverton, there's a narrow gauge railroad that runs down to Durango. And Silverton, in the fall, when the aspens are yellow, it's almost breathtaking. Lots of small shops that you can spend the day enjoying. You can get on the train, go to Durango, turn around, come back. Just a great place to hang out. If you don't want to pay their price and let them do the driving on the other side of the river is the highway, you'll just have to be careful and not drive off the road. You let the engineer do the driving. Just some more of those pictures, same way, Durango back to Silverton. It's just beautiful when the aspens are yellow.
Billy, do you need to make a reservation on the train much in advance, or can you just kind of walk up and it runs every hour or something?
I always recommend that make them in advance. The last place we went on our vacation this time, we were at Jim Thorpe, and if you didn't have a reservation, you was going to wait 3 hours. And
okay.
So it's always good to know what your plans are in advance. And no matter where you are in that area, there's lots of waterfalls. This is close to Durango in the San Juan Mountains, where there's several ice lakes, very, very blue. And so you can get some beautiful lake pictures there. Last week, y'all talked about Mesa Verde. It amazed me. I'm down here at the main building, and the main building is a research facility, and it's a top-notch one for doing Indian artifacts. But when we got up on top of the mesa, it is not like driving up onto the top of the mesa between Tucumcari and Amarillo. When you get up there, you got mountains, you got valleys, you got everything. And I was really amazed when I got up on the top. And then these cliff dwellings, you can see these along the side of the road. You can see them down in valleys, but you can go to the Mesa Verde part, and that, I call it a powwow place, but it has this ladder that you can crawl down in here where the locals can get in that live there. And my granddaughters was more than happy to go there, and I was more than glad to let them, because I was not interested in crawling in that hole. But they had a good time, and you can drive around the park and see this side everywhere and see residences from years ago. From there, you can go on over to Four Corners. I showed that when we did Utah, but it's the only place I know that you can put a knee, hand, be in 4 states at the same time. And just enjoy Four Corners for a little while. Well, we're heading back home. Pagosa Springs, another ski area. You got Wolf Creek Pass. Only place I've ever almost run over somebody. I was in a pickup with chains on it, but they still don't stop on a dime. And luckily I didn't hurt him, but he got to ski along via pickup power. It was not a good one, but again, it's downhill or uphill, whatever way you're headed. Aspen can be beautiful. And then Antonito is that 62-mile railroad that runs down to Chama, New Mexico. And it's another beautiful trip. And catching it when the aspens are yellow is recommended. So whether you're on mountain trails or switchbacks, or you're up in the mountains and looking at aspens or lakes, Colorado is just a colorful, beautiful place to be. And that covered what I was wanting to cover there.
Wow. So where was the best restaurant you went to while you were there? Can you put the map back up and show us? I know
was
there's
in there over that many years. It's hard to say all the good places that we eat, but usually when we're on the road, we try to do not chains. We try to do local mom and pops, and so it's always surprising. You wind up eating Italian food in a gas station, and it's great. It's they make their name doing their thing.
Yeah. Let's see. We have a couple of comments in the chat section. One, when you were talking about Estes Park, Jack wanted me to remind our members we actually have a member that lives in Estes Park. And then Joe Ellen Angles said, my cousins live in Crested Butte, Colorado, which is very close to Gunnison. I visited one time and I took Highway 50 towards California when I left. I saw signs that said it was the loneliest road in the USA. It is indeed. Get gasoline before you go and watch for wildlife on the highway.
Some of those streets that are called California Street, that was actually because that was the wagon route to California. One of those going through Texas.
Yeah. Well, Billy, again, your photographs are just phenomenal. I finally figured out how to get the little strip of film off of, that have the members off the screen. So we really had the full, beautiful pictures. I just don't know how to get that little strip back again. So does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I'm wondering if I'm mistaken or not, but is John Denver buried somewhere in Colorado?
I believe you're correct, but I'd have to Google it to tell you where.
It's supposed to be some stones, and then the songs are kind of chiseled in the stone and stones.
I would not hesitate to say that's probably true, because Rocky Mountain High was certainly one of his favorite songs.
So sad.
Probably in Aspen.
Yeah.
I think he had a house there.
Okay. Gorgeous photos, gorgeous, just beautiful.
Yep, right time is just the fall. The Athens are just gorgeous, and I have mine a little late, and the trees are bare. You're just like, I missed it.
Aw. So you put on your calendar for the next year and go a week earlier, huh?
We were very fortunate this year in our trips that we was in North Carolina whenever the fall colors changed, and we went through peak color, and absolutely gorgeous.
Well, your pictures are stunning.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
All right. I'll turn the screen loose.
Okay. Let's see if I can get
Thank
everybody
you.
back.
That was beautiful.
I do have one quick question. Have you ever experienced altitude sickness? I'm a little concerned personally about going up to 14,000 feet, like Pikes Peak.
Well, it's like anything, is if you're climatized, that's one thing, but if you just drive in and you gain 7,000 feet in elevation, you don't have to go very far on much of a slope, and you'll be huffing and puffing and looking for a rock to lean on. But I've never been sick, but I have taken rest breaks in a hurry.
Well, the
I know.
hose,
I spoke with some experienced mountaineers up there, and they said 90% of the time it's not altitude sickness. You're dehydrated. So drink a couple bottles of water and see if that fixes it. It'll probably work.
Well, there we go. A couple of years ago, I flew up to Yellowstone. So from Dallas to Yellowstone, which I don't remember exactly the elevation, but it's much higher than Dallas. And the person that I flew up with a friend, and the person that met us at the airport lives up there part of the year. And this was at Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And she had oxygen canisters, little ones, and then waters for us. And we didn't need the oxygen, but apparently that's just kind of standard if you're there a lot and are meeting people that haven't climatized, or especially ones that fly in. So.
And I had a friend recently that went through dehydration, and he thought drinking coffee was providing him with plenty of water, not realizing it's a diuretic. And so water's water and coffee's coffee.
There you go. Any other questions? All right.
Billy, I guess I do have a question. Were you ever up there when you had a sudden weather change?
Yes, I drove into Ouray one night, and I was going to get up the next morning, and I had no idea we was going to drop 20, 30 degrees, and I'd have 4 inches of snow when I woke up the next day. And I waited several hours for it to melt on the asphalt, because I did not want to do those switchbacks on ice. Because that has been more than a little scary. And then as I was climbing the mountain, getting out of there, I came into, I don't know whether you call it snow fog, but plenty of sharp contrast in the fog around the mountains, which made for another interesting picture.
October is one of those months where it can be sunny for half of your hike and snowing for the second half. So if you travel up there in September or October, bring extra clothes.